Welcome to the Renovating Riches Radio podcast, and today with Sandra Flores. How are you, Sandra?
I'm wonderful.
Thank you for coming.
Thanks for having me out. I appreciate you for even inviting me.
We've been trying to catch up for months.
Exactly.
But man, your schedule is so busy.
You're speaking to who? Yeah. Exactly.
But I'm glad you're here.
I am
Another lady in the house and a powerhouse, because I think you're doing great things.
I appreciate that.
I see your Facebook posts on how you go all over the city and from house to house to house. So
it's fun.
It is fun.
It is fun. Never a dull moment, that's for
sure. Always different stories, right?
Absolutely. And I think that's what thrives the industry is like every opportunity is different. Every person's needs are different. And you can be creative. It's not a cookie cutter type service that we provide,
that's
by
right.
all means.
So who is Sandra?
Sandra Flores. I have actually been an entrepreneur for about 19 years. Since the age I was 18, I started off selling.
That long?
Yeah.
You don't look that old.
Trade secrets. I think my first entrepreneur venture was like selling cell phones for Sprint. Then I went on to call centers. I think I was telling you the other day that I worked at this call center for about 2 weeks, and they promoted me to like manager. And within about a week's time, and they're like, "You're the youngest we've ever had." And I was like, I don't know how I do what I do, but I just do it.
It's just in you.
I think it's people. I would truly believe the passion that I carry, no matter what industry I'm in, no matter where I am, it's about the people. And that's really what has always been consistent about me. That has never changed. I had an insurance agency for about 10 years.
Oh, wow.
I did. I started as a captive agent, went independent. And then one day I woke up and realized it just wasn't what I wanted to do when I grew up.
So what kind of insurance were you doing?
I was a full lines agent.
Okay.
I was a full lines agent. I did home, auto, life, all of that. But like I said, I began...
It wasn't fulfilling.
It wasn't. I mean, I felt like I was just shuffling paperwork all day, and then almost like a revolving door, in the insurance world. I'm focused on bringing in new clients on the front end, but goodness gracious, I have to make sure that I, hold tight to my ends on the back end clients. So I just realized it was not what I wanted to do as a lifetime industry, and that's why I just branched out and really.
I was in the insurance industry too.
Did you?
Yeah,
really?
But I started working when I was 8 years old for my dad, who's actually in the insurance business.
Wow.
But he specializes in life and health.
That's a very niche industry, that's for sure.
And he's actually way up there, top MDRT, all of that stuff.
Wow.
And he has a large insurance agency in Central and South America.
Really?
So when I was 19, I was actually running the operations for his whole business.
That's phenomenal.
And so I kind of see what you're talking about, because I can relate. A lot of paperwork, a lot of attention to details, applications, and
these are people's lives at stake,
yes,
that we're literally dealing with.
I did enjoy it though, my challenge at the time was that I wanted to be like my dad, and he did not want me to go his route. He wanted me to go to school. And get a degree and all of those things. And I was like, Dad, why do I want to go to school for? Like, I want to be like you. He's like, son, you don't understand. I struggle a lot, as an entrepreneur, coming up. And
there's a lot.
And I was like, yeah, but I don't mind that. I don't mind the struggle.
That's all you knew, right? That's exactly how I feel. My daughter's 14 now, and that's all she's ever known.
Yeah.
There's always been a home office, and there's boundaries around the home office.
Right.
You don't yell and scream during certain hours of the day, and all those great things. But you're right. That's all we ever know.
So when did you make that decision to say, okay, no more insurance, no more agency? And why?
It happened in a phase where, we're turning new ages, and I just felt like, I've been in this era for a while. It's not fulfilling me. I don't want to be, 40, 50 years old feeling like this is the only path I had. That's one thing I've never ever had fear of is opportunity. And I've never been afraid just to step out on faith. It could be my own beliefs. It could be whatever it may be. But I feel like the first step is the hardest step. And so that's what I did. I just took the first step, and I said, you know what? The people-focused person in me did not want to abandon my clients. Right. So I didn't just say, selling the agency and moving on. I did a merge. with a larger agent.
Okay.
I stayed on board with them for about a year or so, helped them transition. But during that time is when I began to grow my passions and actually like the development side.
Which
of
was
business.
what? The development side?
The development was more of like human resources, just employee hiring, firing, systems, marketing processes, all of those particular things that really began to fire me up. And then I started working with my commercial clients and helping them in their business, actually helping them grow and things of that nature. So that's how I merged out of the insurance industry.
So you found a passion.
Absolutely.
In basically, I would say HR and development, right? And then you follow that path, and then once you stepped out of the box completely, because you left the box, the old box, right?
The box, Sandra Flores Insurance Agency was closed down.
Right.
Absolutely.
What happened after that?
Everything just fell in the right order at the right time. And that's how I just knew that I was going in the right direction.
Right.
Very fearful. Obviously, I had already bit my residual income up to a certain amount. And I was like, here we go, starting all over again. But I stepped on out in faith and I began speaking, training on my own, as I mentioned, with the backing of my own experience and being a business owner in the trials. I began developing other businesses. And then this is when the real estate industry became a little bit more relevant. Everybody kept pushing me saying, oh, Sandra, you'd be a great realtor. You should get your real estate license. And I could just clearly say that wasn't in me. I really knew that wasn't what my, passion is, my calling per se. So I never went that route. And even today, people still tell me, oh, you should just do it. But it's just something that I know, like the insurance, it didn't fulfill me. But in the investor world, we can do so many things.
Yeah, there's so many different hats.
Yes, exactly. So I think that's really what attracted me to the investment side of the business is that, okay, most people come in on the wholesale, just learning that process.
Right.
But I've been blessed to really see the full spectrum of all aspects of the investment world. So, the wholesale, the flip, the subject to, helping people stop auctions the night before,
I did that this week. I was like, man,
yes.
And you know what? The property actually was foreclosed on.
Wow.
And sold right away. Mm-hmm. And then we called the trustee and said, hey, just so you know, the seller just, the owner of the property just filed for bankruptcy. And they're like, oh, we got to escalate it now and reverse the transaction. So
that is such just an empowering feeling when people feel like they it's more about being vulnerable. A lot of people are not vulnerable, especially in the Hispanic culture. Yeah. Let's be honest. They don't want to ask for help. They don't want anybody to feel like, handouts are being given.
Right.
But it becomes that state where you just have to be fragile with them and make them feel comfortable, confident. And we have such a short opportunity to do that, right? And so that's really, like I said, going back to my core value was people. And when I knew that I could walk into someone's home and the first thing we weren't talking about was numbers, I would just address everything else just to kind of build that your rapport and confidence and let them know that, I can be trusted. As soon as I walk in, I always tell them, look, just so you know, I'm not a guest. Thank you for not picking up for me or not cleaning for me. You are officially in a no judgment zone, right? Yeah. And I just kind of like to lay that out there because especially women, they get really, self-conscious about these things. And I'm like, no, I'm not here today to admire your things, and that really kind of breaks that wall down when it goes into that vulnerable state.
I had that conversation last night with a guy that he's in Seattle.
Right.
And I'm sort of coaching him in different aspects of wholesaling. And he said, Ricardo, can you do a negotiation session with me?
That's
and
amazing.
I was like, man, that's so, negotiation is like
on the spot, yeah.
But it's huge,
Yeah,
he's like, okay, what part of negotiation? And he's like, creating rapport and all. It's like, look, man, let me play a video. So I went on my website, sameascash.com, and looked for a certain video on a house that we bought from Mr. Jimmy Ivory.
Okay.
And I played that video, and Jimmy's talking about those things that you just talked about.
Man, that's
Ricardo,
key.
You came in, you started talking about baseball, basketball, we started talking about life.
Yes.
It wasn't about the numbers with you. It was more of about building a relationship. So that's why I can see now you're having so much success.
Yes.
It's because you know how to connect with people at a personal level to where now they feel like they trust you and you're getting contracts. So
no, I make it a priority, you know, and not everybody wants to talk fluffy. You know, I have a lot of people that are just like,
there's some people
get to the point.
What's the number?
Exactly.
No, that's not for me. And they're like, okay, whatever, bye, you know.
And you're right, that's the name of the game. But once again, I go back to more of an education piece, right? And then I go back to say, look, I understand that's what you call me out here for. We're going to get to the number. Can I just have a few more minutes to take a little bit more time to explain the process so we don't have to backtrack, right? And that is definitely what's made a difference, and just letting people vent. I think so much that we're in that instant gratification world, and we're like, oh, we gotta go. When I walk into an appointment, I don't bring my phone. I don't, I don't set another appointment like shortly after, because I want them to know that they are my priority. I'm not rushing through anything. If the appointment takes 30 minutes, great. But if the appointment takes 3 hours, hey, I'm already committed. I've already come to this point. So, and that has happened, or you don't know, you think it's going to be an in and out appointment, and then 3 hours later, you're like, whew, I wasn't expecting that.
So what does your real estate business look like today?
So the opportunity that, I really focus on, as I mentioned, going back to the people, is really that person that is in the state currently. And you and I have been talking, and I just love the unconscious mentorship you give out. And I don't know if you know that. So I'm going to give you a little bit of praise here, because you just illuminate so much, man. And anytime anybody comes in contact with you, you're just like feeding them in their own little way. And I don't think sometimes you realize that. So thank you for being that.
Yeah, thank you so much. I don't do it.
industry.
I do it because I really want to help people out, right?
Right.
So it's, I guess sort of our core values are aligned that way.
Yeah.
To where people come first. So it doesn't matter what their challenges are or what they're going through or how big they are or how little they are. I still want to make an impact in their lives in a positive way. So
you're doing it.
Perfect.
You're doing it.
I'm glad somebody's letting me know.
I wanted to take a moment because sometimes we don't realize it. And by all means. So we were talking just the other day about reactive and proactive, right? And I mean, a light bulb just went off. Even though I knew and I know the industry I'm in, like, you know what, I deal with a lot of reactive clients.
Yep.
And they have tried other avenues. They have gone other ways. And now they're like, okay, now I need another option. So working with individuals that are in some type of situation, financial, family loss, there's particular people where they just pretty much have written off the home. I just purchased a home about, a couple weeks ago. They hadn't walked in the home, been in the home for over about 3 or 4 years.
Oh, wow.
They basically didn't want to have any access. I went in, had my contract guy drill out the locks. I put a lockbox code on it for them. I was like, if you want any pictures, anything out there, like, no, I don't ever want to walk back in that house again, right?
Yeah, it brings them back memories, situations.
Absolutely, definitely so. And that's pretty much where we focus in, is like our focus is getting them out of that. And on that aspect of it, the reactive side is that's what we do. We come, obviously the first opportunity is always going to be a cash offer.
You're dealing with a very motivated seller.
Yes.
When you're on a reactive mode.
That is absolutely true.
And they're ready. It's just a matter of, can we speak the same language? Are we going to agree on terms or whatnot?
Timeline and all of those great things. So we focus on that side of it. But I also do get some people that are just curious, right? They get a mail out, they get something from us, they see something, and it's like,
and they tell you, Sandra, I just want to know what your offer is.
What's the range that it would be, right? And surprisingly, sometimes I surprise them, and they already have a negative vibe about investors, like, oh, y'all are just all scam artists, and you just want me to give my house away for free. But before I even go into that presentation with them about all of those things, I say, we really do our best to create value. And so I have been able to flip those clients around that just called for.
You know what I've told them when they say that? You just want to get the house for free?
Yeah. Oh, please tell me. I'm ready for some feedback on that. What is it?
I said, absolutely.
You might as well cure it, right?
I just said, look, yeah, absolutely. If it's up to me, I'll take it for free. Mm-hmm. But why don't we just make this a win-win?
Right.
And
that is always the end goal. Is a win-win for both of us. And that's exactly how I conclude that conversation. It's like, we're going to do our best to give you a fair and reasonable offer, and we're going to do our best to create as much value for you as possible. So if that includes movers, boxes, me coming out and sitting on this chair and helping you pack through 30 years of stuff,
bingo.
I'll do it. I've done it.
And look, what happened is maybe a guy like me or somebody else will come in, right, and make an offer better than your offer, money-wise.
Yeah, exactly.
But that person is going to be like, but she's helping me move.
Right.
You're solving other problems that are hidden.
That's correct. Below the surface.
Below the surface that, the other investor will not be able to uncover.
Right.
And even though that they offer more money than you do, you end up getting the contract because not only you gave them maybe a fair offer, but you help them move, you help them with, I don't know, a storage unit for 3 months, 6 months, whatever. I do all of those things. We've done all that,
yeah.
So
that's why you and her are always here, because we do the same thing. And that has happened where they've come to me and say, look, I'll be honest with you, I got a better offer, but you just, the way you approached me, the value that you added, the way that you, really saw past just the moment, it made a difference. So that's exactly why we decided to go with your company. So that makes a big difference.
Good for you. Are you keeping any of these houses?
Yeah, we do. Absolutely. We have an inventory of almost about 100 rentals.
Oh, wow.
And that's a whole nother world in itself, right? Is the management side of it. But once again, I love challenges. So I had never been in property management before. I learned the ins and outs of the eviction process and just, getting people approved and getting them pushed in, and what do we look for? Who do we give second chances to, and who do we don't, without being discriminatory about it, but just really understanding, once again, the value of what we can add and the people that we're putting into those houses and properties.
All these houses that you guys have got as rentals, is it in Houston or outside of Houston as well?
Oh, no. Houston is a great market, but really we like to reach outside to Beaumont area, Brazoria County, Hockley, Fort Bend, Montgomery County. I feel like the opportunity is so vast and wide that we shouldn't put ourselves in a box, in the Harris County box or the Houston city limit box, because I believe in systems and I believe in duplication. So if we've already created the system for Houston, why not duplicate it to other areas, different counties, different cities? So we absolutely believe in that.
Yeah, I think after Harvey, my business was pretty much 100% outside of Houston. Outside of 99 is what I call it.
Right.
So if it's outside of 99, that house is mine, And Dennis came to me one day. Have you ever met Dennis?
I did.
So Dennis, that's right, at our event when you spoke.
Yeah.
He came to me and was like, Ricardo, I think this is an opportunity now for us to get in Houston. I said, what are you talking about? All these flooded houses, right? And I was like, maybe, let's try it. And we went and we bought a bunch of these houses. Big mistake. We should have stick to our plan.
Stick to the plan. Absolutely.
We should have stuck to the plan, and because now we got burned. We bought them cheap and all that, but it's a whole different story.
Me, I already know the whole mold, moisture, like just the whole process.
And even a house that you finish and now the house is on the market for 10 months, and you're like, it's in Jersey Village, man. This thing is supposed to move fast. Market.
Yes, exactly.
No, it's not. And what we found out is that in Brazoria County, for instance, cities like Sweeney, West Columbia, we'll put a house out on the market, and in 3 or 4 days, we're getting offers. And this is what most investors won't do.
Right.
They will not get out of their comfort zone. I did a seminar where I spoke about driving an hour and a half for $40,000. And I asked the audience, and I raised my hand, we'll go out there and drive an hour and a half for 40 grand. Everybody raised their hand. Everybody.
But that's not the truth
and
sometimes.
I said, really? All of you guys are going to go out there and drive an hour and a half for 40 grand? Oh, yeah. And I said, okay, let me show you this. I got all these houses.
Yeah.
They're at 60, 65% ARV, minus repairs. Where are my buyers? And they all quickly put their hands down.
Exactly.
So that's how fast, but the good thing for you guys is that you're dominating those markets as well, because you're probably the only game in town. And you might have 1 or 2 guys competing, but it's not 300
And what I've learned about that is that the referrals are more solid in that area too, because once you build that relationship, it's just something about the rural areas is once you build that relationship, they are the best word of mouth marketers for you. And so that's just something else that we don't think about is, there's so much competition in Houston and Harris County that really when you step outside of that zone, like you mentioned, there is so much more opportunity than even just the house itself. So
well, so we were basically in our business, we focused in Brazoria County and Matagorda County for a while.
Okay.
And that was like, we were milking those. And we were the only ones out there. So we had no competition. Right. They had to go with our offers pretty much. Like they didn't have any, like they couldn't play poker with us.
Right.
But, some of my friends, they started realizing, I'm going to go where Ricardo's going, right? So they started showing up and I was like, okay, you guys are catching up to me, fine. And I kind of like that challenge,
a little bit, yeah, absolutely.
I enjoyed it. And then one day I told Dennis, like, dude, these guys are catching up to us. And he's like, yeah, man, it's getting tougher and tougher. I said, yeah, we just need to go expand a little bit more out. And he's like, what do you suggest? I was like, what about we go to like Tampa, Florida? And he's like, what? I mean, that's another city, man. This is in the East Coast. And I was like, why not? I mean, why not go venture out there?
Why not? Exactly.
And thanks to that, him being open and all that, we actually got houses right now in like Indiana. I've never been to Indiana in my life.
Right. But it's about that system that we just talked about.
That's
the system, the process. It can be duplicated
and
over and
out of
over.
the box.
That is correct. The fear, breaking past the
fear. Locking up something under contract in freaking, I don't know, Colorado or, that you're only judging by pictures. So it's just a matter of time before you get there. And
I think also is just being upfront with the sellers, and letting them know, not to say, we don't have anybody on the ground there, but saying this is the process. And you know what, at the end of the day, we're going to do everything we can do to assist you in this. But just in case, just so you know,
Do you let them know that you're going to make money on the transaction?
It has come up. A lot of people, what are you going to do with my house? And, and my very serious response to them is like, it really just depends on what the industry is calling for at the time. Whatever I offer to you doesn't matter what I decide to do with the home. That has no relevance right now. Yeah. All that is relevant is this situation. So, we have people all the time. And then the one that always gets to me is when they're saying, after the house is finished, can I come back and walk it, right? I just want to see what you do with the home, right?
I always say yes.
I do too, absolutely. I'm like,
absolutely. I'll give you the lockbox code and everything.
I do too. I never have that.
It's going to look just like HGTV. Have you watched HGTV? Oh, yeah. Me and my husband watch it all the time.
All the time. So, I always tell them, sure, you absolutely can come back and take a look at the house and, all those particular things. But we're not realtors. So, it's not about preserving memories and preserving, finding the right family and the right, the right situation. So that's a fine line. Right? Yeah. When people ask about that, it's like, really we're not talking about profit because at the end of the day, I don't really know what the strategy is sometimes right now because it's December. What am I going to do with the property in December at the moment? Right. It may not be till February or March that we decide a strategy.
We approach something similar. We say like, look, I don't know if I'm going to rent it. I don't know if I'm going to sell it, okay? Or I don't know if I'm actually going to sell it to another investor later on.
Correct.
And what I can tell you is I don't do this for free. So I will make money going forward one way or another. Now, I have lost a lot of money too. And that kind of like counters the whole thing. And then they're like, because I'm being upfront.
Correct.
And that's what we they're like, okay, at least this guy is being honest. Because a lot of the times when they say, oh no, I'm not going to make money. That's it.
That's
big
so
ass.
Unrealistic. Yes.
You're flat,
Absolutely. Because if you're sitting there trying to cover that up or not approach that head on, then what else are you not, approaching head on? So, I always address it very straightforward as well and say, at the end of the day, I'm not 100% sure. There's many strategies, and that's really why I'm out here is I'm not just a one type of strategy investor. We have multiple strategies.
And what's your strength? Like, in your business? Is it acquisitions, dispositions? Is it the transaction portion of it?
Somebody literally just asked me that yesterday, and I had to think about it because I love acquisitions because of the front end of it, because of the direct contact with the sellers, because of that moment. But I also love dispositions too because I can just shoot it straight to other investors.
Right.
You know, hey, let's talk about it. And then we begin to build that relationship on the back end of it as well. But at the end of the day, I would definitely say my strength is always in the front end of the acquisition side. Because, you know, investors, it's, you know, I'm not trying to mentor everybody at the moment. So I'll get new people and just kind of say, here, these are the best options. Do your own due diligence, right? Yeah. But at the end of the day, I really enjoy both sides of it. It's an equal split for me, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I was the same way for a long time. But now I'm sort of shifting to the disposition side.
Right.
Because I find that that's probably the most challenging thing in today's marketplace, I would say.
Right.
Is trying to sell the houses. Because a few years ago, if you got a great deal, people will just come and get the deal in half of your arm.
Absolutely.
But now there's great deals everywhere. So you're competing against other people, you know, maybe the area is not appealing to certain persons. So we're getting better and better. We're focusing on the dispositions big time.
I was going to ask you, so do you believe in this, you know, VIP buyers list type thing, or like, what's your thought on that feedback?
So,
it's like having what's the strength of having a database of 40,000 investor emails, or having a database
to me, that's really worthless.
Right, yes.
Because 40,000, so you can measure it, right? So if you use one of the mailing systems and you blast a deal or an email or whatever to 40,000 people, you're going to be able to go back and look at how many people clicked on it and how many people opened it and all that, right? Why are you going to pay for blasting something to 40,000 people when 0.01% are actually looking at it?
Even opening it, right?
No, so, you know, so you got to start cleaning that list.
I agree.
And do I believe in VIP buyers? Yes. I have my VIPs. I got guys that I just call them up and they know they're getting first pass,
right?
But they're gonna close fast, like next week.
Correct. Yes.
Literally, or maybe in a couple of days or whatever. So I make sure I run things by them first,
right?
But I also want to help the new buyer. Like, hey, how can I help you? I know you're getting into this business. They're qualified for a hard money loan. Right. They got a little money. They got a job, W-2s. So they're actually pretty safe buyers.
And they're motivated, right?
And they're motivated. They watched a bunch of HGTV, and now they're ready to go put a backsplash in the kitchen.
It's my time to shine.
Yeah,
absolutely.
so we wanna attend to those people too, right? Because some of them, I see myself in them. When I started, I had a job and I had a W-2 and I was doing very well with my job. So I didn't really have to have real estate as a main business for myself. Right. It was more of a passive thing for me. Right. I made it big because I just don't know how to go.
I was gonna say that's the only way we know, right?
Yeah, I don't know how to go slow or anything like that.
I'm either in or I'm out. Like
I'm either all in,
exactly,
or not in at all. Right?
I'm not in at all.
So
exactly.
While I was an employee, I got to like 47 houses, and it was a side thing. You know, it was like, but it was really a full-time job.
Yeah.
So when I see guys like that are coming new, I was like, that guy might be the next Ricardo. Because he might be getting laid off.
You can't look past them, that's for sure.
So we want to help those guys out, right?
I agree.
And they end up buying properties and then they come back for a second one. So if you train a buyer like that is not VIP, but it's qualified, they come buy one, they go rehab it, flip it, whatever.
Right.
In 6 months to another 9 months, he's going to be buying another one.
That's correct.
And so
that's still a VIP buyer to me. That's for
to
sure.
me a VIP buyer now. I'm going to call him because I know he performs. So.
That is correct. And it's about performance. I think that's the key word right there, is that, you know, the industry is so tainted by the lack of performance. And that's where sellers get that bad, we're sharks. You know, we always make promises we don't keep. At the closing table, we're changing numbers. And that is something, when I walk into an appointment, I say, look, I know I'm working hard to fight for a good name, because I'm sure you've already kind of seen the worst part of the investor side, and I work very hard to keep a good name for an investor. So if at any point during this process you feel like I'm not being fair or I'm not being upfront, please, you have full permission to just call me out on it and speak to me directly, because I want to address everything head on.
So Sandra, what will you send our audience? Like, what kind of message will you send our audience, especially the people that are trying to get started?
How much time do we have? You know, a speaker could go on.
We got 2 minutes.
Just joking. I would absolutely say that it starts with education. And education comes from so many avenues, right?
I go to YouTube University.
I was gonna say exactly.
That's it. You know?
And don't be afraid of that. I think sometimes people just like, I don't want to make the wrong move, or I'm afraid that I'm gonna make a mistake. Man, I've always believed that the way that you learn is by moving forward and just stepping out. And if you stumble a little bit, at least you were able to learn from that mistake.
Yeah.
That's the key. The second thing is you got to surround yourself by the right people. And I know everybody says that, but we get in this mode where we sometimes just isolate ourselves because we get so busy. Oh, I'm just focused on this, focus on that. But we all need a reboot in our tank. We all need that space. Work-life balance, I don't know if I necessarily believe in that per se, but you need to realize that, yes, you need time for yourself. Yes, you need time to socialize, but with mentors and people that you can develop in. And it may not always be talking business, right? But it's that camaraderie, that brings it together.
That's why we did the REI social.
Yes.
Because I just want people to go hang out. That's it. Go do deals later. Today we're drinking and dancing, okay? And having fun or whatever. And if you don't drink, that's fine.
Hey, that's fine. No
but
judgment,
you're
right?
welcome too, right? You'll be the designated driver, okay?
Exactly.
So.
And I think those are the three things I would say is education, separation. You have to have time for yourself. Whatever it may be. And then socialization is that you have to absolutely keep yourself involved, keep yourself in the industry. Sometimes we don't want to go out networking. Sometimes we don't want to go to these events, but you know what? We can't feel like we know everything and know it all, that we're never willing to grow, right? And growth has to be in any industry, any step. Personally or professionally, growth has to be an objective each and every day.
If you're not growing, you're dying.
Yes.
That's it.
Yes.
So, anyways, thank you so much.
Always
Man,
a
I feel like we can do probably 5 more of these easily.
We do, absolutely.
Easily, because you got so much to talk about. Not just real estate, but all the personal development stuff that you do. And,
yes. I appreciate you.
So we need to have you on a repeat soon.
I'm ready.
So thank you so much. I appreciate you guys.
My pleasure.
Don't forget to hit share, like, and subscribe. And I'll see you on the next one. Bye.